has consistently been a top destination on many people's bucket lists due to its exotic connotations. However, news of drug-related criminality has not gone unnoticed by the world press. The end result is a picture that contrasts a tropical location with a violent country, leaving tourists apprehensive of what they should and shouldn't do. To help make things clearer, here are 10 things not to do in Brazil. Brazil offers a lot of enjoyable experiences, but you need to take caution not to over the line and upset a Brazilian. We've highlighted a few things you should watch out for below so that you don't hurt yourself or the community's feelings. 1. Do not try to go off the beaten path alone. You shouldn't stray into a terrible neighborhood because they exist in every major metropolis. Its well-known attractions, including the Rio, the Amazon, and São Paulo, offer a wealth of things to do. However, it is essential to be escorted by a local you can trust if you wish to travel somewhere else and discover undiscovered jewels. States like São Paulo, Espírito Santo, and even Rio de Janeiro offer cities close to their capitals if you wish to explore little towns. These are attractive tourist places with the benefit of fewer opportunistic tourist traps, lower rates of violence and crime, and the potential for unique experiences compared to more mainstream tourist attractions. If you appear to be a clueless tourist, you're a prime target for theft. The safer method is to explore it with a buddy who is familiar with the area's twists and turns. 2. Don't walk around with valuables. Brazil has struggled with the media's tendency to depict the country negatively when discussing crime and murder statistics. Despite the fact that these instances are not without merit, with nearly 62,000 murders per year, Brazil has the highest annual murder rate of any nation. Poorer or drug gang neighborhoods are more likely to experience it. In other words, locations away from the main tourist attractions. In actuality, most tourists to Brazil leave without experiencing any unfavorable events. However, assaults and robberies do occur occasionally, therefore it's best to take all reasonable precautions to prevent them. You'd better forget about accumulating, wearing, and flaunting your costly clothing, jewelry, and watch collection once you set foot in Brazil. You must understand that in order to avoid being a victim of theft and mugging in Brazil, you cannot flaunt your money there. Foreigners wearing costly watches, carelessly carrying around cameras, and carelessly flashing cash are common targets for crooks. They'll target you and steal your belongings in no time. It's preferable to always dress casually, carry only the amount of cash essential for the day, and store the remainder of your money safely in an envelope. Do not flash pricey professional cameras with large lenses as if you are a photographer for National Geographic, particularly in major cities and well-known tourist destinations. Even modern smartphones have cameras that can produce passable images. But if you like to snap photos of higher quality, a smartphone can still accommodate that. Simply choose smaller cameras over larger ones. Numerous compact cameras are capable of taking photographs with respectable resolutions and zoom rates without the use of a massively telescopic pair of lenses. An excellent PNS or APNS camera with a good zoom rate can easily complete the task. Furthermore, it will attract a lot less notice from potential thieves, who will almost surely choose to target the expensive camera the other man is swaggering around with. Number 3. Avoid favela tourism at all costs. Favelas are shanty towns and slum communities that are found on the edges of large cities. Visits to some favelas, include Vidigil in Rio de Janeiro, are safe. Favelas in general are not advised to be visited, though, unless you know a local who can take you there. You won't ask you any questions if you enter their territory because many favelas are ruled by strong illegal drug gangs. Instead, they'll presume you pose a threat and respond accordingly. If you rent a car, carefully review the map before you start your excursion because the GPS occasionally leads drivers unintentionally into favelas. Verify your route before you drive by asking at your hotel or a helpful local. Number 4. Self-guided trips to parks are a bad idea. Some national parks, like the Tijuca Forest in Rio de Janeiro, which is well signposted and has adequate security in place, you can undoubtedly visit on your own. Others, however, should always be done with a knowledgeable and trustworthy guide. These sites include the Pantanal and the Amazonian jungle, both of which are spectacular but could be hazardous for untrained travelers who might get lost. Number 5. Don't forget your fever vaccine. Normally, you don't need to get your shots before flying to Brazil, but this is something to double-check before you leave. Before visiting Brazil, strongly advised to get vaccinated against yellow fever, especially if you intend to travel to the Amazon. As a tropical country with a big mosquito population, outbreaks of particular diseases can occur. Therefore, it is wise to check in advance. When there's an outbreak in Brazil and you are trying to fly to another country, you might not be able to do so without presenting documentation of your vaccination. Never depart for Brazil or any other country without first verifying this information to avoid trip delays. Number 6. Don't leave without trying Brazilian food. It is normal to occasionally want a McDonald's or other familiar fast food, but if you leave Brazil without sampling the native fare, you will just lose out. The native food, which features a variety of meat, is something you must taste. Some meat cuts are also found in Brazil. Therefore, if you consider yourself a true foodie, you shouldn't pass them up. Also well known and something you must taste is Brazilian meat. There are other dishes that are only found in Brazil that you must taste, such substantial feijoada, a bean and meat stew for dinner, and steaming hot pão de queijo, cheese bread, for breakfast. Keep brigadeiro on hand for a tasty treat and a strong caipirinha on hand for when you want to start the celebration. However, it's okay if you don't feel like tasting a new dish. Just keep in mind not to be rude to the natives. They take pride in their cuisine and do not appreciate when others make remarks about their eating habits. Number 7. Don't assume everyone speaks English. Don't make the usual error of assuming that speaking Spanish will get you by in Brazil, and not everyone there knows English. While Spanish and Portuguese are related, they are still quite different, and you won't necessarily be understood. Try memorizing a few sentences. It would be the best thing you could do. Try to grasp some basic Portuguese. Although most Brazilians do not speak English, some do. Even if the majority of Brazilians want to help, a gringo's efforts to comprehend and communicate in their language can be used as a benefit and a way to win over sympathy, especially among the common people. A gringo who makes an effort to communicate in Portuguese tends to be received much more favorably than one who acts as though everyone must comprehend what he is saying. Brazilians are huge fans of Portuguese speakers and will find any attempts to speak it quite endearing. Number 8. Be careful where you swim. There are 3 compelling arguments for exercising caution when swimming in Brazil. The first is that some waters are polluted, and you might become ill if you swim for a long time in them. Second, anyone who enters the sea runs a considerable risk due to a particular area's unusually powerful waves and currents. Thirdly, Recife is among the top 10 beaches in the world for shark infestation due to its abnormally high population of bull sharks. In Recife, it is advised against swimming in the ocean. Before you go swimming, check with a lifeguard at any beach. Number 9. Be patient. If you set a time for something to begin at noon sharp, don't be shocked if it doesn't begin until 20 to 30 minutes later. Rushing around at breakneck speed to make it to an appointment on time just doesn't register in Brazil because timekeeping there is a casual affair. For those who are accustomed to being on time, it could be annoying at first, but try not to lose your cool. Enjoy this carefree attitude about time. It is truly very liberating. Number 10. Don't be afraid to show skin at the beach. Brazilians are unhurried and take life casually. Brazil's beaches are popular destinations for tourists and locals alike. Therefore, it's common to see Brazilian ladies and men showing off their bare flesh there. Being at the beach in a bikini or tight shorts is not unusual. Even if you don't have a flawless figure, the locals aren't bothered to show at all. You will really find it quite liberating since Brazilians are not obsessed with having the ideal body. If you wear a bikini that accentuates your fat rather than your muscle, no one will give you an odd look. Having an imperfect body is completely normal. Despite what some brochures may lead you to believe, the beaches are open to people of all shapes and sizes. What do you think about Brazil now? Did you take any special note in this list? Do you think Brazil is more a paradise or a cautious land to be in? Let me know in the comments below. Like always, take care and we'll see you in the next video.